on the field, and obviously, trust their bodies to the best of their abilities, trust their swing and their deliveries and everything that goes into playing a baseball game. And as a team, obviously, I think we saw last week was really the first time we were in a position to use some guys off the bench in certain situations. And, we were able to go create some margin for error there at the back end of the game. And then the guys at the back end of the game, obviously, threw the ball good. Guys played good defense. So probably a long answer, but individually that's always happening. And it's about guys going out and trusting what they do.
Go to David Collier.
Coach, I know it's a new year and everything, but how much benefit do you get from that meeting in Round Rock last year and Micah getting to see some of those guys, and obviously a lot of your bats being able to see somebody potentially we'll see this weekend?
Oh, there might be some familiarity with some names, and guys obviously remember things that happened in the game. Especially big moments as far as that goes. As far as how much it helps going into this, I don't know that it helps any. That's it could be on both sides of it. Maybe it helps them, maybe it helps us. But again, it's each day's a new day in this game. You got to go out and play.
Go to Sean Dillon.
Coach, how do you plan to attack such good pitching, especially from back, being able to throw the cutter and being able to be such a strikeout pitcher? How do you plan to be patient with the bats?
We're not very patient. We're a pretty aggressive team, and so that's probably not in the equation. We're going to go up, try to move on the right pitch, and base our success on that.
Go to Eric Kelly.
What kind of impresses you about this Stanford lineup? Obviously, Brock is kind of the guy who stands out a little bit, but it seems like they, much like your lineup, they have guys top to bottom that seem like they can bring that home run power when needed.
So what was the question?
So what impresses you about this Stanford lineup?
They're older. They got really good baseball players. You look at it, they do a good job with their at-bats, do a good job playing the game. Good college baseball team. Usually when you get to this point, you're facing a good lineup and you're going to face good pitching. And they're no different than that. And, obviously, they've got some guys with some strength in there. And you start talking about the Tawa kid. It seems like he's been there forever. You go back to David's question about last year. Jones was, I guess, a true freshman last year and swung the bat really good against us. And, it's a balanced lineup right and left. And if you watch the game Monday night, they had a kid that drag bunted with 2 outs, kind of like Army did, just to get on base. That was impressive. They're going to be fundamentally sound. Coach Esker does a good job.
Go back to Carlos.
Going back to my initial question, Coach, just in terms of the coaching job y'all have had to do with so many injuries and obviously tinkering with the lineups to try and find the right spot and evolving throughout the season, how difficult has it been for you all? I know a little bit more maybe this season with kind of all the stuff going on preseason and everything, but just for you, how difficult of a season has it been just on you all in terms of the grind and trying to figure things out on a game-by-game basis in terms of putting guys in a position to be successful?
I don't think it's been too difficult. I think our guys make our job easy, and they do a good job of coming out and playing the game each day and preparing and try to develop and try to get a little bit better each day. And that job probably gets harder as guys start creating expectations for themselves and start getting in their own way. But we got a bunch of guys that really like playing and keep it simple for the most part. And so our guys get a lot of credit. Our team gets a lot of credit. Our staff gets a lot of credit. But as far as our players make our job easy. I mean, we get to sit in there and we could brew up some Folgers most days and drink, sip on it, and watch them play.
Go to Ronald Clark.
Coach, you stressed a lot about the, physical and mental challenge that it is going through this postseason. You guys obviously not needing that, extra game to get past UCLA, but them having one against UC Irvine, is there any way that additional fatigue for them could sort of play a factor into this game, or is there any way that you could take advantage of that?
I wish life was that simple, just to say, they got to play a day later, and that could work both ways. I mean, you literally look at their week. They probably, I would say had a short practice Tuesday, travel Wednesday, short practice today, play tomorrow, where we had Monday off, practice Tuesday, practice Wednesday, practice today. Everybody's going through obstacles and challenges each day when you're dealing with 35 guys. And so we don't have any idea where their roster is and what what's going on there. But I can assure you, it's like having 35, sons. I guess what you're saying. You're trying to, we're trying to be present every day and try to get a little bit better each day.
Go back to David Collier.
Coach, can you speak about back a little bit more? What impresses you about him? And you mentioned being so aggressive. And do you I know you're going to hit what they give you, but do you tell your guys to be a little more patient with a guy like that, to try to get the pitch count up against him?
I don't know. I guess we'll decide that between now and tomorrow. And the one thing you have to be able to do that is you got to be comfortable hitting deep in the count, and those types of things. I think those things arrive as the game presents itself to you, and so we'll deal with that as we go. What impressed me the most? I mean, I got on their website and messed up and watched highlights of a game. I think he threw a 1-0 shutout, and boy, the breaking balls on the website or, on just the little video, man, they look pretty good. And then you go back and you watch it on this other format that we can watch a number of pitches on, and you're going, okay, not every one is Uncle Charlie coming in there. I mean, there are some hangers, there are some ones that are not in the zone. And go in there and look at the 1-0 game. And you'd think, Babe Ruth couldn't hit the guy there, so. But a hitter can't hit unless a guy stands on the mound to pitch. So he's going to stand on the mound to pitch, and we're going to step in the box to hit. So that's where we're going to look at it.
Go to Ryan King.
Hey, Coach, I know Drew didn't have the regional he wanted, but the last time earlier in this year when he went through a bit of a slump, I know he came out of that pretty well, getting 5 hits in just a couple games against West Virginia and Baylor. What about his game works to be able to have a slump like that but bounce back and be so good for such a long stretch after it?
Oh, he affects the game regardless whether he gets hits or not. He's definitely, having some good at-bats in there and seeing some pitches. And, obviously the pressure he puts on a pitcher to throw the ball over the plate's always there, because if he gets on, he can apply some pressure. What allows him to do it? He knows the strike zone. He's got bat paths. He's aggressive. He likes to hit. He does what a lot of good hitters do. He's aggressive, and but he's. I would say, what you're talking about probably is Game 3 last weekend, I guess. He did lead off a game with a double, and it was a big, as far as I think that was the North Carolina game, and he did impact those 3 games last weekend. I think he always impacts the game, and to me, it's a game you're going to be successful 3 out of 10 times. If you do that, you're going to the Hall of Fame. So, let's not be too hard on the guy. He went up there and didn't get a hit a couple times. Talking about 1 game, I think.
Go to Eric Kelly.
Coach, in terms of, for regional play, you go in, you don't know if you're going to play 3 games, you don't know if you're going to play 5. In this more traditional set where you know you're going to play 3 games, do you come in with an idea, okay, we're just going to keep it pitching-wise like a normal 3-game series, or do you kind of determine who will pitch game 2 based on the result of game 1?
Good question. I mean, it's I think you do everything you can to win game 1 and put yourself in a good position for game 2. We've obviously got some guys that can start and some guys that can throw out of the bullpen. I'll go ahead and answer the question. Hampton's throwing tomorrow, and so you kind of know who's in the bullpen as far as that goes. And Montverde's starting game 2, so there you go.
Go back to Carlos.
I think we've asked you this before, Coach, but when you have the temperatures that are expected to be forecasted, I guess how do you all prepare for something like that? And I guess is that something to where you kind of have to get the guys to sort of focus, especially on a day where it's going to be, a little hotter than normal?
Oh, man, you made me laugh there. It made me bring back some wheat harvest days. I guess if we had time for them to go harvest wheat for 10 days and work about 18 hours a day and then play, maybe a week after, we could get them used to the heat. But other than that scenario, I don't know that you're going to be used to it. You're just going to have to do the best job you can managing it because it got here so fast. I mean, in this whole region, what was it, 80 degrees last weekend? And all of a sudden, the turf's in the 140s, 150s. Feels a little bit like an oven. If you've ever jumped in the back of a wheat truck with one of those probes, it feels the same way sometimes in the middle of the summer. And so that'd be my scenario, or maybe some square bales somewhere, a couple hundred, stack them up, let them get used to it.
Go to Ronald Clark and then Don Williams to close.
You mentioned that, the game last year won't help you guys very much, but how much have you seen, just them improve since that game?
Talking about the game last year in Round Rock?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? You're talking about the whole group?
Them improve since that, yeah.
They're all a year older. They're all have more experience on both sides. I mean, all the kids are a little bit stronger. And so, again, experiences, if you've learned from, all of them have probably failed a little bit since then. So there you go. If they've learned from those failures, they're a little bit better.
We'll finish with Don Williams.
What's up, Don?
Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Good. Can't see you. There you go.
Now you can see me. Hey, speaking of learning from failures, can you talk a little bit about Nate Rombach's the past year or so to go from the way he started here, just struggling and being out of the lineup, to coming back into some some good at bats now. What that battle has been like for him and for y'all to figure it out and get him kind of back.
Well, you'd have to ask him as far as the battle for him. I know it's been a very challenging spring for him. All these guys are guys that have always sit in the middle of an order and been the best player on the team wherever they've come from. Nate ironically started his college career off, I think, hitting 4 home runs in one weekend, and you thought it was going to be easy for him. And, probably set him up to, all of a sudden he's hit 4 home runs in one weekend. He's on a pretty decent baseball team, and he's hitting in the middle of the order, and he probably got pitched different than he's ever been pitched in his life. And it's kind of just gone back to, I would say the most simple thing is moving on the right pitch. And you could see it last year after the first weekend that he got pitched tougher, and he's doing a good job of moving on the right pitch now and hitting it every now and then.
All right, that'll do it for Coach Tadlock. We'll have Stanford later today. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. See y'all tomorrow. Drink some water. Thanks.